Hello, Professor and classmates. We are team number 3 and we will talk about the telecom industry. Our team members are Amandeep, Chioma, Rupinder, Ritma, Sonny, and myself, Edgar. So now Ritma will start with the introduction.
This is the introduction. The telecom industry is a highly customer related service which depends on the company's service and how happy the customers are with the products. And we identify in this selected company they are suffering from customer retention with the business, and it's directly affecting the profit and the company's reputation. So this project aim is to find out why clients leave the business and the causes of the churn out. The project scope is to understand the company's current situation, precisely considering three aspects. For example, we use descriptive, predictive, and perspective analytics to give recommendation for the retaining those customers with the company. And the objective is to analyze and visualize the data using tools and analytics like Python and Tableau. According to the outcomes, we are suggesting some solutions for the company to reduce the customer churn. And Edgar will continue this presentation.
Thank you, Ritma. So now I'll talk about the Canadian telecom industry. So I will start mentioning the 5 main providers in Canada for telecom, which are Bell, Rogers, Shaw Communication, Telos, and Quebecor that mainly operates in Quebec. So these are small providers compared with global ones. Let's say the one that are in US, South Korea, or Australia. They have, of course, bigger and more infrastructure, and also they generate more revenue. Even though that Canada is expanding the infrastructure and they are investing actually 5% more than their revenue than their global counterparts. So this is gonna impact in the adoption of the new technology, the 5G, and it will help to reach more cities in Canada and all the more territory. As right now it's pretty much in the big cities and in the areas nearby, but by 2025 the projection is that 20 million of 5G mobile connections are going to be around, so they need to be prepared with the coverage. And negative customer reviews. Have you ever been in a video call and then the internet is gone? Well, that's frustrating for customers, and that's the main reason why they decide to change providers. Features: they want to have the latest technology. Why not having a high internet speed with microfiber connections if they can, right? The second one is competitive advantage. They look for a fair price and a fair product or service. If the provider is not doing that, they will look for some other alternatives. And the last one is negative customer reviews. Customers look very often online and they check what are the reviews, what are the other customers, why do they leave, what do they like about the service, and they take it into consideration. And if there is full of bad reviews, they will just find another alternative. Now Sunny will explain about methodology.
Thank you, Edgar. It was really wonderful. So in this section, I'll be covering methodology, and under that, I'll talk about what's the data from where we have taken it, and what are the tools that we have used to analyze this case. So data we collected, it pertains to telecom customer churn, as already explained by my colleagues. So it's divided into customers who churned for multiple reasons, newly joined, and old customers who actually decided to stay with us. So the data has more than 7,000 rows and up to 35 columns to suggest the multiple factors that can actually impact the customer decisions. Also, this data is wide enough to test the model's accuracy by dividing it into a train and test model. So before I go deep into this, I would like to explain you the importance of knowing the churn rate. So it is one of the vital step, and churn rate represents the percentage of customer the company lost, all the customers who have lost, like the company lost the customers over at the beginning of the interval, like over the interval. So just to give you more insight about this, for example, if a company had 500 customers at the beginning of the month and only left with 450 at the end of the month, which means that company churn rate is actually 10%, and which actually means that company lost 10% of the customer during that period. So this is like one of the key example of letting you know. And also, as per the research done by Bain and Company, the cost of attracting a customer is 5 times more than retaining a customers. So increasing customer retention rate by 5% only can actually help you to increase your profit by 25 to 50%. So that actually tells you the importance of knowing your churn rate and actually acting upon that in such a manner. So as you can see on my right, that the data that we have taken is actually extracted from Kaggle, and it pertains to 2022 year end. Okay, let me talk about the tools as well. Okay, the tools that we have used is actually Tableau and Python. With Tableau, we try to clean, organize, and then visualize the data so that any pattern and insight in the data can easily be understood. Once this has been done, we insert the clean data into Python and run random forest and SVM model to know the accuracy of the model. It is vital to have a model that is successfully predicting which customers are prone to churn, and also identifying which variables are crucial and can help us in early detection and maybe even improving the product. I'll just quickly take you through a little bit about Tableau and Python, and the detailed discussion will be followed in the analysis section. So in Tableau, we used text table, horizontal bar, scatter plot, and time series to know the different variables and how they are impacting the churn rate. In Python, we just run random forest and SVM by using NumPy, Pandas, Metroploitic, and sklearn. So all this will be explained in the analysis part, and we try to use these two models to know the accuracy and the one, and at the end of the day, we decide the one who has the more accuracy level and less error rate. So over to my colleague. Thank you.
Hi, my name is Gurpinder. Now, for carrying out the regression analysis on the data, we have to define the variables for the data. And the independent variables, we have the gender of the customers, their marital status, the type of contract they have with the company, like they have month-to-month contract or 2-year contract or a yearly contract. Next one is the type of internet they have. Some have the fiber one, some have the DSL, and the monthly charges they are paying for their plans, and the age of the customers. In the dependent variable, we have the status of the customer, whether the customer left the company or they just remain with the company or they have just joined the company in the recent month. After deciding the variables for the data, we try to visualize the data on the Tableau. Visualizing the status of the customers, out of the total customers, we found that 4,720 customers stayed with the company and 1869 got churned. They joined some other companies and some other operators, and there are 454 customers who have joined recently. In the second visualization, we find that maximum people churned out during their first 3 months of their subscription, and this is the area where the company has to focus a lot. Going one step further in the field of test visualization, we visualized the data of the customers who churned out from the company. In the first visualization in the slide, we find out that maximum customers who churned out had fiber optics as their type of connection they had from the company. And in the second visualization, we try to visualize the type of contract they have with the company, and we found out that the maximum people who churned from the company had month-to-month contract. There were very less people who had a 2-year contract with the company and left the company.
Hi, thank you, Gurpinder. So this is Amandeep here. I'm going to take it forward. So we're going to use random forest classifier as our model. We have divided our data into two parts. One is with the joint customers who have recently joined the company, and the other one for the stayed and churned customers. And we're going to run random forest classifier on our data set for stayed and churned customers, and then predict the status for the joint customers. So we have defined our x and y variables over here. The x variable is the independent variable of gender, marital status, age, monthly charge, the type of internet connection, and the type of contract. And y is the dependent variable is the customer status. So let us take it forward. So here is the complete code for random forest classifier. As I told earlier that we have divided our data set into 80-20 split, and we are using n estimators as 1000, which means 1000 trees and maximum features of 8. And while running the model, we found out the accuracy of the model comes out to be 79%, which is not that bad. And this is our model, and this is what we're going to use further to predict the status for the joint customers, whether they're going to stay or they're going to churn out. So now we run our model on the joint data set. This is 454 customers who have recently joined the company. And when we predict their status, we found out that the 183 customers out of them are going to churn out. They have been predicted as churned out customers. And then we also find out the IDs of these 183 customers so that company can work on these IDs and give them special promos and special discounts to make them stay with the company. Moving ahead, let us see what happens next. So moving ahead, we are now trying to see the probability of their status of stay or churn as predicted. So this one gives us a better idea as to if a customer is staying, what is actually the probability over there. As we can see, some of the customers who were showing the probability to stay with the predicted status as 1, but they have probability to stay as just 51%. So they are still critical for the company to stay. So this gives more in-depth uh, insight to the company to which are the customers who are critical and they should be worked upon to make them stay. Moving ahead, we want to see what is the feature importance, like for the independent variables, how are they affecting our dependent variable, which is the customer status. So using the feature importance command in the Python, we get to know that monthly charge is making the most impact on the customer status, followed by the uh, contracts, then the age, and the type of internet connection moving ahead. So based on this one, we will try to see how monthly charge alone is affecting our probability to stay or to churn out in the coming slides. So now here we are trying to simulate the effect of monthly charge on the probability of staying or churning out. So we can see clearly that there is not much of correlation over here. That means that it's not the monthly charge that is affecting chances of customer to stay here in case of fiber optic as the internet type. So definitely it's not a commercial issue that the customers who have the internet type as fiber optic are churning out. There definitely needs to be more in-depth analysis that needs to be done, and it's most probably a technical issue from the company side, and they need to work on that to make people stay. On the contrary, when we try to see the effect of monthly charge on DSL type internet connection, we see clear-cut see there is some correlation between the same. And with monthly charge increasing, actually the probability to stay increases, which is kind of surprising. And um, but after a certain point it starts dropping. So we see some correlation between the monthly charge and the probability to stay over here, which was not visible clearly in the previous slide. So this is where we can say that there is some correlation and company can work on this one. So based on our analysis, we have some recommendations for the company. First of all is that they should try to work on their fiber optic internet service and see what's the technical issue over there and try to resolve it as soon as possible. The other thing is we want company to promote is 1 year and 2 year contracts rather than month-on-month contracts. They should give special promotions and incentives for people to opt for 1 year and 2 year contracts, as month-on-month contracts are not encouraging enough for customers to stay. And then also they need to do some market research and compare their plans with their competition, because the new customers are churning out very frequently, and they can stay with the company if they work on this one. So moving ahead, I would now hand it over to Chioma, my teammate, to take it forward. Thank you so much.
Hi, my name is Choma Abubo, and I'll be taking the concluding part of this project. On the dashboard is a representation of 7,043 customers, which has 3,488 females and 3,555 males. This representation is talking about the churned customers, the customers that joined recently, and the customers that have stayed in the telecom communication industry that we selected. Now, our aim is to predict the behavior of customers and the customers that are retained in the company. What do we aim to achieve? And what are the key characteristics that we selected? We took a snapshot of the dashboard to discuss further on this.
Yeah, in the 7043 data set, we took some dimensions, some unique dimensions, which include the customer ID. The customer ID identifies the uniqueness of a particular customer. We also took some dimensions like churn label, the demographic fields, the premium plans, all these to help us calculate the churn rate. Now, a simplified way in which we can calculate a churn rate could be, say, churn rate, which is equals to customer loss over total number of customers. Say, for instance, the total number of customers is 200 and the number of customers that left is 20. You could just say, hey, 20 divided by 200, which gives us 20%. We also took some parameters from this data set to be able to get the measures of which we base our analysis on, such as the total charges, which is sum of the monthly charges, the monthly charge, the extra data charge, the extra international charge, the customer service calls.
Now, our proposed recommendation for the telecommunication of the data sets we selected are as follows: to concentrate marketing efforts on the highest valuable customers. What do I mean? You should consider creating an exclusive loyalty program filled with exclusive rewards for them. Secondly, the most common cause for churning is due to the superiority of the competitor's brand offers and services in terms of price and quality. This underscores the company's attention to review components of its value proposition and define its competitive advantage over competitors. Third, converting current month-to-month users to long-term contract subscribers. And lastly, attract or introduce an additional internet and streaming services to internet users. Thank you.
These are the references, and thank you so much for the opportunity.